This is like the second time this week that we're doing a follow up video on a story already covered, but this is the raw footage of the Erica Thompson confrontation with Mr. Eric Sparks. And I really want to break this down. Now, first and foremost, WBS News in Atlanta, yeah, you need new tech people because this has been a pain in the behind, like to pull up. Not to give you guys too much insider baseball, but just pulling up this video from their website has been a chore. So WBS, man, get new tech people because your stuff is awful. So you can see Mr. Sparks, he's in the white shirt right there. Miss Thomas is in the pink shirt, and let's get this party started. So he's rolling up. Pardon me, don't mean to be rude, but yeah, you have more items than necessary. And as you can see WBS, get on working stuff. You see her walking towards him, right? Because she's very offended that he what's the name? She's very offended that he checked it. Notice where her hand is, right? Because this is apparently after he called her a lazy bitch. She's taken aback. She's aghast. And that's when her feelings really started cranking. That was the moment her feelings really started cranking because she feels oh so disrespected that he would call her a lazy bitch. So let's keep going. Oh, how could you? How dare you, sir? How dare you speak to me in such a manner? You can see my man sitting right there at the cashier. He's just like, yo, come on, man. I won't get paid enough for this. So she keeps coming towards him, right? I wanna point that out. She keeps going towards him. She's like, oh yeah, all that fear she was talking about in her video. Oh, he's telling me to go back to my homeland and all this other stuff. And it's like, bruh, you're clearly not afraid of anything in that scenario. And she had no reason to be afraid. He is smaller than she is, and she feels like she can bully him. And how dare someone smaller than me come up and try to tell me what I'm doing isn't right? And honestly, all of this could have been stopped if she recognized that, yeah, she was doing something wrong, and okay, I got you for next time. That probably would have just quelled the whole thing, because that's what usually gets me out of those things. Because like I've said in previous videos, I've been confronted on doing these small mundane things that we don't take seriously. But if you're called out on it, then it's most important to recognize, like, yeah, you're still in the wrong. So you know what? You're right. I got you for next time. And keep it pushing. I tell you, that is like the easiest answer. The simplest answer is usually the correct one. All right. But now she's feeling some kind of way. And there was some footage that I saw that was questioning whether or not she was pregnant. That's a pregnant belly. All right. I know the difference between a pregnant belly and a fat belly. And yeah, because she's a thicker chick, it's really easy to confuse the two, but you can tell by the way her stomach sits up and the way it's protruding that that's not fat, because fat sinks. Babies float and rise, fat sinks. So that's a good little tidbit of information for you. Thank you, Fox News, for whatever Boris Johnson got going on. Anyways, so as you can see, hold on, let's press pause. As you can see, bigger girl down there in the far left-hand corner is, I guess, trying to get between them and her. She's just going off because she is so self-righteous within this moment right here. How dare you, sir? Like, she got that finger up. She's going through the whole "I'm a strong, independent black woman" shtick that she's been portraying this entire time. That self-righteousness, that indignation, that how dare he speak to her in such a manner when ultimately, yeah, ma'am, you are the one in the wrong in this scenario. If you know that you have more items than 20 and you can't stand on your feet, but so long you ain't had a problem being on your feet and going at that man in the manner in which you did, you feared for absolutely nothing in this scenario. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do a follow-up story to this, because I think it came out that she was actually the one, allegedly she was the one that was telling him to go back to where he's from. And so not only were you completely in the wrong in the entire situation, and I'll admit Mr. Sparks didn't have to go and say anything, but he felt compelled to. And when you're confronted in such a manner, recognize that have a bit of self-awareness. I guess I would say. Have a bit of self-awareness and recognize that you are in the wrong in that scenario. But because he simply called her a bitch, she feels as if that's all the ammunition that she needed to hop up on that high horse and start riding it all the way to Facebook Live and crying about how she's so oppressed and everything else like that. Sir, I'm so scared of my life right now. How dare? And once again, I just... The people I always feel the worst for in these scenarios are the workers that didn't sign up for this nonsense today. Man, just get through my line. I'm slowly counting the moments to my lunch break. Why we gotta go through all this? But that's what happens when you have these ladies, because let's be real, it's been generations now where America has really done all it can to boost up the chicks and the females and be like, oh yeah, girl, no matter what you do, you're right. No matter what you do, you're right. There's this streamer named Alinity who's been wilding on Twitch, and she's not getting banned by Twitch because she's damn hot. Okay, she's a good looking chick, but and that's she drives a lot of views to the site. So no, they're not going to ban her, and that's a symptom of the bigger problem that we're seeing here, because particularly in urban communities, that's really where a lot of our problems come from, is that we've had this matriarchal rule for 30, 40 years, and they've all been told that there's nothing wrong that they can do, and the government will always have their back. The government will always stand up for them and be and put the battery in their back to basically try and be as much like men as possible. And Miss Thomas is no different in any of this. Let's start this all the way back from the beginning. So one more time, he rolls up, says, ma'am, come on, it's 10 items or less. She's like, ain't no 10 items or less. How dare you say that to me? And he's like, oh, calm down. You're like, you being a bitch. And thusly, she hops up, you see, and that's when he called her a bitch. Right then and there. The moment she grabs her chest is when he called her a bitch, and that's when she really got mad. And as you can see, she was stepping towards him. She was entering his space the entire time. So really, this is just a follow-up video to illustrate and highlight how wrong she was throughout this entire scenario. From the word jump, she won in the wrong. But instead of sitting there accepting that, particularly in her daughter, because they got a daughter blurred out right there. Hold on, let me pause this right quick. They got a daughter blurred out right there, but in front of your daughter, you're gonna sit there and react in such a manner. And this is generationally taught. There we go, generationally taught. Like she's learning from her mom right now that if somebody approaches you while you're in the wrong, all you got to do is just start yelling at them. And honestly, she at this point, and seeing this, she should not be a lawmaker in that state, and she should resign or get stepped down, or hell, Mr. Sparks, you go run for her seat, man. I mean, seriously, does she represent you? I'm not sure. I don't know how everything works out down there in Georgia. But I just wanted to go back. I wanted to go over the confrontation, and because that's a theme on this channel, we take the footage and chop it up and see, where these things could be done better. And honestly, look at her face. She ain't scared of a damn thing, because she's an American black woman who knows that in America she can get away with damn near anything. I'd love for her to try that shit in Iran or Saudi Arabia or Qatar or anywhere else in the world. And that's what really frustrates the most, is that lack of respect for the fact that we've created such an environment here, and not just for women, but for people of all colors and creeds to feel comfortable enough hopping in these types of situations. Because had this been 70 years ago, she would have just been lynched, and we keep it pushing. Actually, but he's Cuban, so he may not even have been in the country. So if this was the white man that she racistly claimed him to be, then she would have just gotten lynched, and they probably would have made a picnic out of it, because they used to do that, right? So with that being said, hopefully you got a little bit of perspective and just keep it in the back of your mind when you're doing the small little things that are incorrect, that they're still incorrect, and don't be such a jerk about it. So if you liked it, toss it a like. Dislike it, go ahead, do that too. I ain't scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring, and YouTube's definitely not going to do it. And speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? Do you see a hint of fear in this woman? Is she looking like she's pining for her life, or he even did anything oh so wrong to her? No, he called her a lazy bitch, which more than likely is not too far from the truth, allegedly, right? Until the next one.